हेलो दोस्तों, हरे कृष्णा। वेलकम टू टुडेज वीडियो। आज के वीडियो में हम ये चार टॉपिक के ऊपर बात करेंगे। तो पहले तो हम देखेंगे कि अगर आपका 5,000 का मंथली एसआईपी आप स्टार्ट करते हो तो हाउ यू शुड बी आइडियली बिल्डिंग योर 1 करोड़ पोर्टफोलियो। बट उसके लिए हमें तीन चार इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें समझनी है। पहले तो एक इंडियन इकोनॉमी का आउटलुक देखना है कि अनदर 10 to 15 ईयर्स के लिए इंडियन इकोनॉमी का आउटलुक लगता क्या है करंटली। डू वी एक्सपेक्ट रैपिड ग्रोथ or a moderate growth in the economy? What it is, I will talk about it. And then we will see five stocks, which is something which I feel is worthwhile to stay invested, to stay put in those stocks for a longer term, and also three mutual funds in order to hedge our portfolio against both hedge against the risk that we will take in those stock, and hedge also against the inflation that is happening in the economy. Inflation per se, more than inflation, I would say, tax perspective. And then I will even give you a quick overlook at my portfolio on the mutual funds when I say from tax perspective exactly what platform I'm using, so that you can use that or any other platforms. I'll explain you some other platforms too. All right. So let us get quickly started for our video for today. All right. Right. So, starting with, see, we all have this very common question that if I have to start with a very small amount of investment, say 5,000 or 20,000 in the market, 10,000 in the market, how to build this 1 crore portfolio. So I will give you some stock names and the mutual funds will certainly build. But for that to work and for that to successfully happen, we have to first understand what has been the growth story of the India and what do we foresee for the Indian economy from here on. See, the first narrative is Indian economy has always been a growing, and not just Indian economy, any economy to that matter. Like from 1950-51 से उठा लो 2023 तक, Indian economy has rapidly grown. Okay, ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्ट हैज रैपिडली ग्रोन, बट ये आने वाले टाइम में इसका ग्रोथ जो है वो डीएक्सेलरेट होगा। इतना रैपिड ग्रोथ नहीं आएगा। सो दैट इज, यू माइट फील लाइक ओ मैं लाइक मोटिवेशन करना आया था आपको ग्रोथ स्टोरी के लिए, बट दिस इज नॉट हैपनिंग। नो, बट दैट इज नॉट ट्रू, बिकॉज इन एनी इकोनॉमी इफ यू टेक टू दैट मैटर हाउ इट ग्रोज इज, सो द ग्रोथ दैट हैज हैपेंड लाइक से फ्रॉम दिस 2000 से लेकर 2010 तक ले लो एग्जांपल, ईयर फ्रॉम 72 टू 91, लाइक अब जीडीपी फ्रंट, ये जीडीपी फ्रंट पे है, लेकिन स्टॉक इकोनॉमी का ग्रोथ देखोगे तो इन दिस वन डिकेड this must be somewhere around 5 to 6 times of the growth that Indian economy has seen. But then again, here the growth is almost 2 times, because we have to understand that growth is usually deflationary in nature. Because growth की जो speed है in any company or any economy, when it grows, then gradually it slows down. The growth takes stagnancy in the economy. So very certainly India में growth तो जरूर आएगा। एंड ये क्यों आएगा, इसके पीछे एक पॉलिटिकल एंगल भी है। इफ यू लुक एट इट, लाइक रिसेंटली व्हेन बीजेपी इलेक्शन हैपन, लोकसभा इलेक्शन हैपन, see, no economic, no political party wants to leave the seat, leave the position from any economy. So the political party has to thrive their best, that the economy grows to the maximum, so that they can come into the position once again and next time. So that's why it becomes very important. And last time the election was won in alliance with many other parties, but next time this should not happen. And because of which now currently जो भी market का position है as of now, जो decline हमें देखने मिला है, very sooner or later we will see a massive growth in the economy in the coming time until the point of next election. So definitely next year stagnancy period अभी तक आया नहीं है, we are somewhere over here. So economy के overall long term growth perspective से, so this rapid growth and a massive growth is we are going to foresee in next 4 to 5 years. So this is the best time for you to capitalize on your any SIP that you want to do. So ये video तो start किया था with 5,000 as an SIP that you can do, but certainly if you have a higher amount, I would definitely urge you to put it in the into the market in the coming and leave it for next 4 to 5 years. All right. So now let us see which are the five stocks that you can consider for your investment. First stock I would say is HDFC Bank. HDFC is one such bank which has a very wide moat and a high growth bank. So I will generally look at these banks on a month-to-month basis. So you can see this over here. There is a very nice formation of channel pattern that has emerged in the HDFC Bank over a long run. So if we leave this one of this exception which has happened during COVID, Otherwise, HDFC Bank has been strongly respecting on this particular channel. Yes, certainly, अभी के time पे, current time frame में, HDFC Bank is currently sitting at a big resistance point. So we can stay cautious at this point. But very well, if we get an opportunity to accumulate on this one, this is where your SIP should grow. So either you can make a monthly SIP, but more than monthly, I would say if you could do an opportunistic SIP, that would be a best place, best time to do when you get HDFC Bank near this particular correction point. Second stock name that I would say is any IT company. Okay, be it TCS, Infosys, any of that company. The reason I'm saying this is see because no, we know that the revolution of artificial intelligence is happening. Okay, नाउ बिजनेसेस को ऐसे तो नहीं है कि लाइक आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस से एआई से वी डेवलप सम एप्लीकेशन लाइक चैट जीपीटी परप्लेक्सिटी ये सब एप्लीकेशंस अभी करंटली डेवलप हो गई है we develop that applications and leave it forever, okay, and then keep charging the customer $20, okay, $50, $30 as a fee. ऐसे तो नहीं होगा. Businesses have to create a model around to this AI bigger domain so that it can outsource and provide services to other economy so that that economy also grow and these companies would also grow. So currently Infosys, TCS and all of these big companies which are listed from IT space, they are currently undergoing that mechanism of finding the model which can be best fit, which can be provided as a services. Okay, जैसे कि ERP एक डोमेन था, CRM एक डोमेन था, right? So in businesses ने they started implementing the CRM operations. They started providing support to this CRM operations. They've started providing consultancy to the CRM operations. अब जिन्होंने CRM बनवाया, example Zoho CRM है, right? So Zoho CRM बन गया तो that doesn't mean कि वो बन गया and it is all finished and over. So many contracts and forward contracts would come to these companies in the coming time with the advancement of AI. It is yet to discover, but this is the time when you have to really capitalize on these opportunities. And plus, if you look at this big giant Infosys, like imagine Infosys is like worth thousands of crores, and then if you look, example, I'll take it over here. So, example, Infosys is currently worth 6,56,000 crore. Okay. It was not so at the top. At the top, it would be certainly more than 7 lakh crore over here. It has eroded almost 20%. So now you have to ask the main owners, the main promoters of the Infosys, how much they have lost if they have lost 20% of 6 lakh crore. That's a massive amount of huge amount of money that Infosys people have lost, and that is not going to always remain. Time will come when these companies will recover and they will go back to its bull run. So that is the second stock. Third one is I can say Asian Paints. Asian Paints is one such stock which you can always have in your portfolio. And the reason for Asian Paints to have it in your portfolio is very simple. See, क्या करती है, right? This is a monopoly. पेंट सेल करती है, स्पेशलिटी केमिकल्स, वो सब केमिकल्स, वो सब डीपर कॉन्सेप्ट्स में हम जाएंगे तो नहीं समझेंगे. ऑल वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इट सप्लाइज पेंट्स to individuals and businesses who can apply those paints on houses. Simple model. Now, isme we have to understand that what is the demand that we can see for the end users, end houses, okay, to get generated so that more and more houses will come in play. Yes, certainly it is going to pay. And वो demand कहाँ से आएगा? वो demand आएगा population से. If you look at this data example, ये Indian population का data है, which is rapidly growing, and it will always continue to grow. Okay, as a human revolution that is not going to stop. We are currently sitting at 1.42 crore of population, starting from 2.25 crore over here, and this 1.42 billion of population starting from 25 crore, and certainly we would have more in the coming time. I don't know, this 2050 तक आप जाओगे तो ये 1.142 करोड़ का जो population है, that might cross even say 170 or 180 crore. And because of this additional new population coming in on our earth, more and more demand of houses will definitely come. And plus, if you see, if you go to any foreign economy, if you have ever been to US or European market, Australian market, Singapore market, you will always see that there is a living standard of staying nuclear, which is happening in India also. So if there is one family जहाँ पे parents and kids, they all used to live together. Now the kids, this brother wants to stay separately, he wants to stay separately, and parents have their own living separately. So one family generating a demand of three houses. Okay, so very simple. That is going to put forward the demand and the requirement for more and more Asian paints to supply those products to it. So this is one stock, third stock that you can look into. Fourth stock is consumer oriented stock. So you can say something like Tata Consumer Products. The reason I like this stock is Indian consumers are changing their habits. So if you look at US for an example, in US the consumers, they are more like they live pay to check. So live check to check. Yes. So if you see 60%, this was the data. I'm sure 60% of the US consumers live check to check. That means by the time their money finishes, their salary finishes, by the time they get the next salary, their previous salary is finished. So they all live check to check, and it is a spending economy. Unka standard living standard is that way, and that's where India is also moving. So very sure that the consumer product and the consumer sector will always keep growing. There would be a downtrend, yes, there would be a fall. So example, if you can see this year, this was a big fall of 42%. This was another fall of 22%. But overall, even if you take from the top, suppose you by mistakenly invested in 2017 on top and saw the 45% fall, despite that, you're already up by close to 250, 300 percentage in last, what, 7, 8 years. So that is easily 25 to 30% return that you have got from such consumer sector stocks. This is the fourth stock. Fifth stock, I would say, is Larsen and Toubro. Why Larsen and Toubro? More than Larsen and Toubro, I would say infrastructure is the best sector. The reason is, if you look at the data of, oh, okay, instead of this, I want to see CNX Infra. There was a huge consolidation of infra sector over last couple of years. Yes. So if you see this year, this point over here, this comes from 2008 Lehman Brother crisis जो हुआ था, वहां से लेकर market has finally given break even to it from 2021. Okay, and now this is almost like over here, this is like 62% return in just 2009 to 2020, 11 years. And after that, there is a massive bull run. So what the stock couldn't earn in this 6 years, this 11 years, it has got much more than that in the next 4 to 5 years. अब ये suddenly Indian economy में क्यों हुआ? Because of many political reforms, that government understanding that infrastructure is a sector, because you have to understand any economy can function rapidly, it can grow its GDP only when there is a proper infrastructure, there is proper logistics, there is proper supply chain. Only when the cars move, the vehicles move, supply chain happens, products can be shipped from one location to another, one branch to another branch, from one geography to another geography. For that requires a massive infrastructure. Infrastructure doesn't mean safety road or buildings banana. Infrastructure when it comes to rails, infrastructure when it comes to highways, metros, metro lines, connectivity. Faster you connect intercities to one another, the more faster it is to do the business and more quicker it is for the businesses to earn money. So ये जो अभी currently growth आपको दिख रहा है यहाँ से, अगर हम bottom से भी देखें, so this is like 294% growth. Now that doesn't mean that the growth will stop here only. The growth will certainly continue, because right now we are having good infrastructure ministers in the Indian economy, which they are currently looking after for more and more infrastructure spends in the coming time. There could be some stagnancy. I don't know. I cannot time that. But overall, in next 10 to 15 years period, I see this could be really doing well. So infrastructure is one such sector. Okay. Now let us move on to understanding three mutual funds that you can look after. First one I really like is Parakparik FlexiCap Mutual Fund. The reason is, I agree, this is a very slow moving mutual funds, but then what we have to understand is, uh, it is difficult to really find a mutual fund where it remains stable when the tough time comes. Okay, because these investments and these funds which I'm proposing to you, like this one over here as a Parakparik mutual fund, This has generated a CAGR of 24% over last 5 years. Okay. You have to find where you will get this. Banks will give you just 6 to 7% of return. Inflation on top of that is 4 to 6%. So in a way, your money is already eroded by 11 to 12%. So you need an alpha like this one to get generated over a longer run period. And for that to happen, and also for you to remain steady, resilient to the economy, you want a fund like this. Example, हम सितंबर से देखते हैं इंडियन इकोनॉमी ऑलरेडी -17-18% गया, उसके बाद में रिकवर भी दिया. बट इफ यू लुक एट दिस पर्टिकुलर fund from here, this also went down by only -8%, and it has recovered now. Whereas if we look at the index would be at -3 or 4%. But if you see this particular Parakparik mutual fund is staying at plus 0.5%. So this gives a good hedge to your investments in different individual stocks that you would do, but very strongly even to the mutual fund front, that it is a good fund to proceed with. Next is Mire Asset Large Cap and Mid Cap Fund. The reason is Parak Parik does is more of a flexi cap, because this is also giving you one good fund which is giving you almost more or less similar returns, but this is little riskier than Parak Parik. Why I say is an example of and a proof of that is if you see this, Parak Parik fell by -6%, whereas this one have fallen by -19% overall. So you can see this 19 year. So this is the 19% fall. And now when it has recovered from the September top, this is now almost at -6%. Whereas Parak Parik, when we saw, that was at positive 0.5%. So that is more of a hedge, but this is more of a growth mutual fund. So both have a different purpose. Okay, so that the money that you will put in over here will remain hedged against the stocks that you will risk, and also hedging against the stability, again hedging against the risk to maintain that stability. And this is more from the growth perspective. And the third mutual fund that I will say is from tax perspective, to get it saved, unless you are having any different ATC sections to get filled in. Otherwise, I personally go for this kind of quant ELSS tax saving fund, which has also given, in fact, last 3 years has been good for this, but that doesn't mean that always it has been good. So in last 1 year, if you see, it has been performed poorly. So on 5 year basis, it might look like a good start, because it might have a good record growth in some stocks in the early years, because of which it is seeing that. But relatively, if you see for this one, this is at -13% relative to Mire Asset. Okay. So Mire Asset was -6 and Parak Parik was plus 0.5% as of now, whereas this one is -14%. So the purpose of having this is mainly to save our tax. Okay. So 1.5 lakh you can invest, and also you can get a good return, like if not 36%, easily average of 20 to 25%. Again, these returns are not guaranteed, but very well likely, looking at his past performance, it can do so even for the future coming timeline. All right. So quick recap. These are the 5 stock names, like HDFC, what all 5 stocks I gave to you. So HDFC, Infosys, Asian Paints, Tata Consumer Products, and then Infra as an index. Okay. L&T is good in that one, but you can look after other ones also. But I would say go on infrastructure index as a bet. And then 3 mutual funds. One was Parak Parik, Mire, and then any good ELSS. You can choose quant ELSS or any other ones as well. There is a different purpose for each of this particular investment style to have, because mainly you have to hedge against the risk from this stock, and as well as you want to grow. Now, here is an example of my own investments only into ELSS. So I have been doing this from last 2 years. So last year I did it 1.5 lakh, and this year again I did it for 1.5 lakh, mainly to benefit out of. So it is sitting at a currently good profit of 1 lakh over a 2 years period, which has generated approximately 35% profit in 2 years, which is good. It's equivalent to having close to 17 to 18% return, which I'm very happy, which is good. And the purpose of this is not really to grow my money. It is mainly to protect the tax that I would pay, at least on that remaining 1.5 lakh, because I do not have any other way in which I can utilize that ATC section of the tax. All right. So that's all about this video. So do let me know in the comments, should I do a part two with a small cap picks in which you would be interested? And again, a standard disclaimer: these stocks that we have discussed, these mutual funds we have discussed, they are all. Please do your own research and consulting with your own advisor to before you invest into those stocks. So that's how you can start your journey with a small SIP of 5,000, 5 to 10,000. Higher amount you have would be in all of these stocks and funds for a longer period to build your 1 crore portfolio. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye bye.